Alright, Kimbo White here. Just want to talk about Strikeforce. Congratulations first off to Jake Shields, Gilbert Melendez, and Kimbo. For all of them, Kimbo can't take anything from the guy who executed his game plan perfectly. Talk more about that in a minute. Jake Shields just completely disrespected through the entire night from the beginning of his fight, and talk more about that in a minute. And Melendez, just bull, a beast. I'll talk more about that in a minute. But first off, before I talk about any of those fights, I gotta get something off my chest. And it bothers me even more than the little scuffle at the end of the show, which was horrible. But what's honestly even worse, because the fight's probably going to lose CBS. I don't know for sure. I'd be surprised if May 15th on CBS. But what's even worse is I'm telling you right now, you don't want to lose your real MMA fans. If you don't go mainstream with the way you want it to here, with the Strikeforce right off the bat, whatever. But I'm telling you right now, Gus Johnson and Mauro Ranallo have got to go. Because I'm telling you right now, I've been watching cage fighting since around 1990. UFC 1 was like 91 or 92. It wasn't even called MMA back then. It was still just called cage fighting. You weren't, they didn't even like to rent the fucking tapes to you when you was the VHS tapes, kids. When you were 18 years old, if you were 18 years old, they didn't like to rent them to you. It was completely frowned upon. I've watched it since those days, and 20 years now. I'm 30 years old. I've been watching it since I was a young kid. And I'm telling you right now, I love the sport. I love everything about it. All I do, besides work and eat and be with my family, is watch MMA. And I play video games, but a lot of time it's an MMA video game. I will not watch many more events that Gus Johnson and Mauro Ranallo commentate. And if I do, I'll fucking mute it, and that'll suck so fucking bad that I'll hate. What the fuck, man? Who would keep having these guys commentate an MMA event? It's a fucking disgrace to it in itself. To try to present this shit to the fucking public, to the people who don't watch it, and try to make it mainstream, and have these guys commentating it is such a fucking disgrace to the intelligence of the sport, to the technique that's involved in the sport. And Jake Shields was passing through Dan Henderson's fucking guard like a fucking hot knife through butter. And Gus Johnson and Mauro Ranallo are sitting there running their fucking mouths about absolutely fucking nothing through the entire goddamn fight. Excuse my language, but I'm sitting there watching him go. He goes right through Dan Henderson's guard, goes to half guard, goes to side mount, goes to full mount, goes back to side mount, goes back to full mount. He's going for submissions. He's doing all of this shit. Half a dozen times I thought Henderson was going to get finished by these flurries of punches, and they weren't even talking about that. Man, it was the worst commentating I think I've ever seen in my life. it would have been so much better if they just let Frank Shamrock sit there and talk by his damn self. And he's not even that good, but it would have been a hell of a lot better. There's some guys here on YouTube, not myself, but there's some guys here on YouTube that, and I think I honestly, I take that back. I could sit there and call a fight way better than Mauro Ranallo or fucking Gus Johnson. I'll blow them guys out of the fucking water. But there's 2 or 3 guys here on YouTube that could get together and do those Strikeforce shows better than all 3 of those guys. And it's pretty sad because, Frank Shamrock, he knows his shit, but it seems like a lot of times he'll just sit back and let those guys fucking run their mouth. A couple of times I heard Frank try to say something technical. I think the only actual technical words I heard the whole entire night was out of Frank. So, I don't know. I guess that's enough about that. But, if somebody's been watching the sport 20 years is thinking about not watching because the commentating's so fucking bad. And then what about at the end when Mauro Ranallo's trying to get Jake Shields out of the way so he can say, well, he thought that was just disgusting. Well, fuck, man. Get these guys the fuck out of there. Oh, shit. And what about the whole entire fight? Did it not seem like Mauro Ranallo and Frank Shamrock had some type of animosity towards each other? They wouldn't even look at each other. They'd both talk to Gus, but they wouldn't talk to each other. What the hell was up with that? And it seemed like everything that Mauro Ranallo would say would have been something that was like a counter to something Shamrock had said to him or said earlier. And Shamrock would always be defending him. My point was, and I don't know if I'm the only one that picked up on that. I had another friend that said he noticed it. But shit was just ridiculous. Just fucking ridiculous. Now, I got to make another point. Jake Shields, go to the fucking UFC, dude. Damn. I want to see him stay in Strikeforce. I like Strikeforce. I want to see him survive and all that. But, I would do it just out of spite because last night, the entire show was stole from him. From beginning to end. First, the announcers just completely disregarded this man's skill. The entire fight, he dominated a legend of the sport, and they completely disregarded it. And they probably won't get rid of him, and we probably have to see the stupid asses again. And then on top of that, they had the fucking thing at the end with Mayhem Miller, okay? Which was completely out of Strikeforce's hands, okay? I'll give them that. But the icing on the cake was when they come back from the commercial break, and Shields was trying to apologize and trying to be a good sport, shaking Shamrock's hand in the whole 9 yards, and Mauro Ranallo's patting his shoulder and sticking his fucking goofy head in the way. But besides all that, we're talking about the fights.